Oh, how to build a pub.
Hello, and welcome to the Build a Pub podcast with me, Alex Ravenhall, a person who after 22 episodes has finally bought a mic. The Build a Pub podcast is a spin-off of my original series, Social Isolation. I invite guests onto this podcast to, as the name suggests, build their own pubs, from what they have on draft to what food they serve to what music they have playing, and hopefully get them to share with me some anecdotes and thoughts on the institution of the public house. I'm going to be releasing these podcasts as often as I can, most times on a Sunday for the foreseeable future. If you can't wait that long, you can also find all 11 episodes of Social Isolation on this very channel. Special thanks also to Sam Nason and Jack Pethram for the graphics and the jingle. I'm joined this week by who autocorrect has referred to as Daniel Horsley, who will build a pub so gargantuan its toilets will be harder to find than in a Wetherspoons. Last bit, drink responsibly. Happy? Yes. Now sit back and enjoy this episode of the Build a Pub podcast. Okay, let's just get the volume sorted. I want to hear your lovely voice. Okay, let's do it then. My guest today has been on the podcast before, where we talked extensively about the Premier League for over an hour. And by Premier League, I mean Didier Drogba. Now, here to build his dream pub with me, with a last name that describes someone acting like an equine, it's Dan Horsley. Hello, Dan. How are you? Not my best introduction, but what can you do?
Not much apparently, but yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I'm glad I haven't been kicked off after my previous performance.
I mean, I did very much enjoy your previous performance, especially the story you told about slide tackling your mum during lockdown, which I thought was particularly quite enjoyable. Welcome. This is quite special, Dan, because you are the first in not a reboot, but a restart after a hiatus of this podcast. It's been about 2 months, and I'm excited to start it off with you. Are you nervous? Does that intimidate you, Dan?
Well, I mean, if only I had a drink that could calm said nerves. If only I had a pub that could fill such a need, and then I'd be a lot more confident in doing something like this. You put the pressure on now.
I'm so excited, and I hope you do get absolutely twatted throughout the process. Dan, we've just had a bit of an interesting time at university. So me and Dan just finished our first term or thereabouts. I think we have finished technically now. How was it with all the COVID-related stuff, and did it impact your pubbing?
Oh yes, I remember sort of the prophets of doom on the BBC when in the middle of the summer holiday when they said basically all the restrictions that Birmingham was going into, and I absolutely despaired. Not least for the lack of pub action that I'd be able to get. I think I only went. Tragically, I only went a few times. The odd football match. In fact, the last football match I went to see at a pub was Chelsea-Liverpool, and they lost, so that was terrible.
Which is a big shame, because you've had an absolute turnaround in form recently.
Yeah, well, could have picked pretty much any game since then, and yeah, we're doing wonderfully now. But other than that, I hardly any visits. I was massively hit by the coronavirus. I only got one outing with, other than people in my house, I only got one when it was, basically outside, and it was cold, and it was naff. I do long for proper pubbing and proper university back.
Getting it all, but hopefully some point next year. So you've mentioned it briefly, but kind of what is the pub to you, Dan? Is it a place you like to go with friends, family, to watch football, to drink? If you're going to, what's your kind of ideal pub experience?
Well, I feel the pub itself was sort of the great British pub. It's sort of the all-purpose. This is where you go. It's like you go to you can go to chat. You can have a good time. So you can celebrate something there. You can mourn someone there or something there. It's just sort of the all-purpose. This is everyone getting together, whether it's friends, family, whatever. Just it's there to it's the ultimate sort of meeting place and place for conversation, where many theories about whatever will be shared by whomever.
That's it, isn't it? It's a place to be ridiculous, but be also accepted. I think that's the best way to surmise a pub. Before we get into the actual, the intricacies of your pub, which I'm very excited to hear about, Dan, I've got a little tally going on, or I did. As I say, I've been away for 2 months, so I've no idea what the most expensive was, but I am interested in what was your most expensive drink you've ever bought.
Right, as you'll see from the main ethos behind my pub, I've never particularly splashed out on a drink.
No, me neither.
Probably the most expensive one I can think of would have been, I think there's a sort of a nice sort of swanky kind of bar in Birmingham that I went to a while back, before the dreaded virus days. And then they basically, it was just called The Alchemist, and they do these just lovely cocktails. And it's like, you have to get properly dressed up for it, so you know it's swanky. Otherwise they won't let you in. And I get this right, I think the most expensive drink I've ever had, ever bought, probably involved Haribo's.
Right.
Because it was a fairly pricey cocktail, right? But the gimmick was, because they all had gimmicks, there was somewhere like you literally had a photo taken of your face and then they put it in like the froth of the drink. There was some where you could like, if you like put your hand on this, it would go through like a flask and go into your mouth like all crazy style. But the one I had, because basically the gimmick was loads of sort of flavours and stuff, but also a sort of a skewer of Haribo's.
Nothing shouts ostentatiousness quite like Haribo's, does it? You know, you want to be paying top dollar if it's got Haribo's included. What, like, you get a pack of Haribo's like 99p. How much was it?
I think it was 15 odd quid.
Jesus, mother and Christ. I can't deal with this at all. I once paid, I think, £5.50 for a pint of Birra Moretti, and it nearly bankrupted me. I felt a pit in my stomach, Dan.
Yeah, I refused. So I think it was when I was in Crystal Palace. My friends were like, "Oh, let's just over the summer. Oh, well, let's go get a drink at the pub." And they were like, "Yeah, but then when they informed me it was about £5.50 a pint, I just outright refused, just on moral grounds. I'm not spending even though living in the London area, I am not spending £5.50 on a pint. We marched off to the local off license and brought back a load of cans to drink in the pub. In the park. And
I was going to say, I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah, that was just a complete flex on the pub. How dare you charge these prices? But no, yeah, I agree with you there. There is a limit to my patience on how much you can charge for a pint, even in London.
Well, that whole ethos is very interesting coming into you with your own pub. So I'm expecting some cheap drinks. I'm expecting some nice drinks. Most importantly, I'm expecting a shit ton of Haribo's. So let's get on with it. Welcome, Dan. This is your pitch. Weirdly, this is the pitch for your pub, which you've already built. So think of it more as you're trying to get some investment. And obviously, to get some investment, you need an investor. So who do you think? Who are you investing to, and why? Like, why do you want their money? Why do you think they'd be right? And why do you think they'd be right specifically for your pub?
I'm going to be pitching to Mr. Elon Musk, because I feel obviously it's got to be somebody who's got shed loads of cash.
Yeah.
But also somebody who's that line between genius and insanity. That's exactly what I need to invest in my idea.
That's our second Elon Musk we've had. We had a guy. I hope you haven't done this. We had a guy build a pub on Mars. So I'm hoping you haven't gone for the same thing.
Oh no, it's not. Oh, you'll see. That definitely wouldn't be possible.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure Elon can afford about 8,000 pubs and invest considerably in all of them.
So not enough to put one on Mars. He'll definitely sink some into this, I'm sure.
Well, that's fantastic. So I am Elon. I get out of my driverless Uber. I get out. I tell it to go and drive somewhere and park itself, and I look up. And I see in front of me a pub, your pub to be exact. What I want is, what's the name above the door? And give me a bit of a description of the building itself. You know, is it a bit of an old wooden type place, or is it a bit more of a modern, like a bistro? What have you gone for, Dan?
Right, so what you can see is definitely sort of your stereotypical, like, not nothing too fancy. There's nothing la-di-da about it. It's very simple. Sort of your stereotypical sort of wooden insides, a little bit dark inside, but warm and cosy, not unwelcoming. The volume's always loud. The clientele is cheerful, and the name Mr. Musk of that you can see emblazoned above the door will be Spoons.
Okay. So what is this? Is this like a an offshoot of the Weatherspoons, or is it a completely separate thing entirely?
Now, this is the unique selling point. You see, all across the country, Weatherspoons has got a stranglehold on students, those with low budgets, those who want to drink at opening time at about 10 o'clock on a Monday morning.
Damn straight.
And I feel we need to break up that monopoly. I have got an idea to undercut Weatherspoons.
Jeez, I mean, good luck.
Oh, yes. And so, I've obviously, as you can see, so everything is going to be Weatherspoons, but if Weatherspoons is £1, we're 99p.
So you take a penny off every drink?
Oh, no, that's just a metaphor. Or we can take whatever we want off the drinks. It's like, so imagine your average table in Weatherspoons. Now imagine it that bit more worn, or just that bit not as good.
So when Weatherspoons throw out stuff, you take it and put it straight into your pub?
Absolutely. Without hesitation.
Including the dregs of the 25-year-old carling that they've had in their basement.
Well, it's their loss, and when we've sunk them, when we buy them out because they failed to understand the sheer genius of this project, they'll understand how important this is.
That is incredible. I mean, I'm very much for it. I hope you can bloody do it, and hopefully with Elon here, you can. So the building itself, are we talking like? Oh, is it classic Weatherspoons, or is it just like a bit more? It's like a Weatherspoons in 5 years, so it's just a bit more dishevelled.
Yeah, precisely. It's every Weatherspoons now. If you left it for another 5 years without doing it.
Fantastic. Okay. So Elon, he's impressed so far. He loves a cheap pint. He's not for all these these alchemist bloody Haribo drinks. He wants a decent but cheap bit of beer. And so he walks in. And he walks up to the bar, as you would when you enter a pub. And you're behind that bar, you're wiping down the surfaces, you're doing your work, you're keeping everything running. And Elon comes up to you, and in front of him is 2 draft beers, 2 draft ciders. Dan, what have you got to offer?
Well, you see, in order to pull this off, I've had to do some extensive research. So, for one of my beers and one of my ciders, I've looked at the competition Weatherspoon, and I've simply taken their cheapest beer and their cheapest cider, so at $1.99 both, depending on location. The beer, it's a pint of John Smith's.
Oh, yes, that is one of my favourite drinks. I will allow that. Sorry, Elon will allow that. Continue.
Oh, of course. And again, for the cider, for the undercutting of the spoon cider, I've gone for the Magners. And sometimes I've seen a Magners at $1.99. Sometimes I've seen it at £2 something. Now, for both of those, the John Smiths and the Magners, they are both staying under £1.90.
Jesus, no, the inflation. Fuck it. We remain at our market price.
They're not going any higher. I refuse to. It's against my morals. And so immediately, if you're a random person on the street, you're seeing that John Smith's or a Magnus, oh, it's £2 in spoons. Hold on a second, I can get 10p off if I go over there. That's. I mean, I'm one over.
You say that, but those 10p's add up. There are 2 pubs where I live. One does a carling for £3.40. One does it for £3.30. In 33 carlings, which I will get through, I've got a free carling. So you know what I'm going to do, Dan, don't you?
Exactly. How many pubs do you think pubs? No, how many pints do you think the average person gets through in their life?
I mean, let's cut it down to a year. I'm sinking 100, I would say. If I'm drinking every third day, that's bad. Maybe not every third day.
Did you say a year or one night? Because that's confusing.
Well, it depends on the night, doesn't it? Last day of uni, maybe we're up in those statistics. I think that's a very strong idea. I also like the choice of Magnus and John Smith. It's the people's drinks, not flashy, not fancy, but also not populist. They just, you go in after a day's work. I say, as a 20-year-old who's held a part-time job for a year and a half. But you go in after a day's work, you have a John Smith, you have a Magnus. It's a relaxing. It's not your bougie Jaeger bombs or shit. It's just a nice easy drink, and I'm a massive fan of that. Dan, what about your other 2?
Well, so for the other beer, I've gone for what I think. So you know, it's a pub for everyone. So you might get the person who, but you know, the snooty ones who think, even though they've come to a pub that claims to be cheaper than Wetherspoons, you know, the snooty types who think they're above your base ales, your base John Smiths. So what I've done is I've pulled a sneaky on them. So I've gone for what is known as Pilsner Urquell.
Okay, never heard of it, but hit me.
Because that is a Czech Pilsner, which, when I went to Prague, was basically the go-to drink.
Well, like a Carling? Is it that equivalent?
Yeah, equivalent, yeah. It was pretty damn good, but because it's got a foreign name, it sounds fancy, and therefore, I reckon, so they'll think, oh, that's the foreign import, I'll have a bit of that one. But haha, I've got them good. And, you know, because normal, like, you're having the John Smiths if you're going for the full experience. So, and whisper this quietly, I'll have a little premium on that one. Just because, like, well,
you need to make your profit somewhere, Dan. You need to make your profit somewhere, and I think,
exactly.
You know, add a little bit on. Who's to know the difference? And I also think a massive thing with beer, I'm sorry, is that if it looks nice, if it's presented well, you'll pay more and you'll taste a difference that doesn't exist. You can put Carling in a Peroni glass, a little stodgy Carling glass, and you'll prefer it in the Peroni glass every time.
Yeah, that is another thing. I'm going to buy just crazy. Like, in fact, I went to a car boot sale in, I think it's Hook, I think it was in, and they were selling just glasses and glasses of just pint glasses.
Mm.
And I thought, oh gosh, I wouldn't mind one of those. And he was selling them. I think I got 5 for £1. Dropped one and smashed a load.
Fantastic.
And then he obviously, and he let me off of it. And I was like, so I'm going to buy that man's entire stock.
Well, to thank him for not having a go at you for sloshing.
Exactly. I've got to apologise to that poor fellow. And yeah, I'm going to buy everything he's got. He'll be able to go home happy. I'll have my drinks. Might need a bit of washing, but, you know, I'm sure we can make health and safety standards eventually. We'll
get that. That's another. Elon can deal with that, you know, once he sets the money in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What about your next cider?
Well, I've gone the opposite of the Pilsner Urquell. What I'm doing here is I'm going for the absolute sort of student rock bottomy. Like, if you're going here, you know what you're getting. You're not drinking it for the taste. I'm gonna go for White Ace.
White Ace?
White Ace.
White Ace. Never. Is it like a Frosty Jacks type? You know, like a double strength there?
Basically, yes. High content, low taste, but it's cheap.
Yeah, that's what you want, innit? Yeah.
It'll get the job done. So, Wetherspoons won't even stoop to this. So, like, come on. Like, they're missing a trick here, and this is exactly where I'm going to get them.
White Ace is fantastic. My dog agrees, if you can hear him.
Precisely.
He loves White Ace. It's his favourite drink. He has it in his little dog bowl. Fantastic choices. But obviously Elon, he's had a long day building a lot of rockets and making Tesla billions, and he fancies something a bit more refined. Don't worry, not mental, but he wants a wine. He wants a smooth but short drink. You've got one red and one white, if I can say my words. Which ones have you gone for?
Right, I'm going to start with the white. A Castellore Pinot Grigio Sauvignon.
Get in the bin. That sounds proper bougie.
Oh, exactly. £4.19 at Aldi.
What, for the bottle?
For the bottle.
You smart Alec. You know your shit, Dan. So how are we selling this? You know, a very nice refined little glasses. I mean, that's it really, isn't it? You just put it in a glass. You know, it's not a cocktail or anything. Yeah, no, I'm just going to sort of pour it on the table and hope they lap it up. No, it's so you've got to have the description in it. Sort of it's Italian. It's according to the website the Terra Siciliani. I'm guessing that means it's from Sicily. Just any Italian word, chuck in there. And bob it on the wine list as well.
Oh, exactly. So Terra Siciliani, Bonucci, Barzagli. Yeah, it's just stick them all on there.
Di Natale, Buffon, Gianluigi, just...
Yeah, and then, so not only will you get the uptight type who want their special stuff, well, they think it's special stuff, but then you've also got the sort of the football lads going, oh, yeah, I know what he's doing there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got a bit of both. I very much appreciate that, and I hate like wine snobbery. If you know your stuff, fair play. But you know when you're just like, oh, I want the decadent white, if you would, and you're like, it's all tastes the same. It all tastes like shit to me. On to your red, sir.
So for my red, it is just going to be called the House Red.
Okay. I mean, are people going to die? Like, I'm kind of worried about this one. It's not rat poison, is it?
Well, it might have the...
bit of a pregnant pause there, Dan. That was quite stressful.
Yeah, definitely some safe claims on this one. But, so this one is going to be cheap as chips. Absolutely. The House... I mean, everyone loves the House Red. It's the House Red. Everyone knows it's the cheapest drink on the wine menu. It's the House Red. It also sounds good. You know, it's probably a solid one anyway. Because, well, the house is endorsing it. If Spoons is...
saying it's a good wine, it's a bloody good wine.
Exactly. What? And what it actually is right, this is the secret, it's going to be a home-brewed, basically fermented grape juice. So, literally just shop-bought grape juice, fermented, sold, bada bing, bada boom. Done. House Red, nobody needs to know, apart from you, me, and Mr. Muskie.
And everyone who listens. So, as we said, the two of us.
Exactly. Yes, and so that is my ploy to increase profit margins with as little prices as possible. And of course, as well as wine glasses, I will also be offering wine by the pint.
Wine by the pint. I mean, it wouldn't be spoons if there weren't pints of wine. It's a very strong business plan. Elon's very impressed. But obviously, as I do say, he's a very busy and stressed man. Before he's going to go for the house wine. He trusts you, Dan. But he does want something a bit stiffer, a bit stronger, just to take the edge off the day. So, you got 3 spirits to offer him, because obviously I already know that you only have 3 spirits. You can either go for kind of 3 variants of the same spirit, or 3 brands of different spirits, or you can just go for vodka, other ones. It's up to you, Dan. So, what have you gone for?
Well, I've gone for, obviously, because, do you remember a couple of years back, Wetherspoons decided to replace Jaeger with Striker, most notably in their Jaeger bombs becoming Striker bombs.
Bastards.
Precisely. So, I'm gonna one up them there. I'm going to do my own Striker bombs, but they're going to be slightly bigger and slightly cheaper.
Right. So, like, we're talking 10ml up, 10p off.
Exactly. So
that's a great business margin, actually. I think all businesses should be run in pubs. You should, to beat your competitors, you add 10ml, you take 10p off, and that is how you make money.
Because you're still going to make your profit, but more people are going to come to you. So everyone's like, oh, it's a spoons. Oh, we'll put up with Striker Bomb. No, you're not putting up with Striker Bomb here. You're getting a bit more, and you're getting a bit kind to your wallet. See, these 10p's will add up.
They will. We've discussed this, Dan. It's a fantastic business model. I don't know how no economic people have written this down, Dan. It's incredible. What's next? What are your 2 other spirits?
Right, so I have got something that I tried recently. This is sort of more of a taste. It's quite a nice one, and I feel it's got a little bit of a gimmick to it. So it might be a little bit more pricey. But everyone will, hear about it and be like, oh, yeah, fine, give it. So it's called Peaky Blinders Black Spiced Rum.
That is a fantastically tasting drink, and I 100% believe it's because of the marketing. I'm not a rum guy, but I visited my friend in Manchester, and we had that, and I think they do a whiskey as well, the Peaky Blinders people, and honestly, that rum is fantastic. Sorry, do continue. Yeah.
Well, precisely, exactly. You've already sold it to them. That's what not only is it a nice rum, I bought some for myself a couple of weeks back, but also it's also got the market. Like, the marketing's already there. Like, they've done it for you. It's not like you're ripping off anyone's name. Like, that is their product. Yeah. You can't call it anything else. They can't sue you for saying, oh, you're doing this. That's what you name the product. So yeah, I feel that's just free marketing.
Absolutely fantastic choice. And as you know, 90% of this podcast is my personal preference. And so far, you're ticking a lot of boxes. That John Smith, that Peaky Blinders rum, you're hitting the spots.
I know what the people want.
You do?
I know what the people want.
You do. 10 mil up, 10p off. Final Spirit.
Oh, this one I've just gone plain and simple. Cheap as you can possibly get it, vodka. Can't go wrong. Mix it with anything.
Exactly. Who cares? If Grey freaking Goose vodka. Either way, you're gagging.
What are you doing?
What you doing with your life?
It just tastes like, you know, like, have you ever been out and you've had, like, I don't know, gone camping or anything, and then you've got, like, water that's sort of been warmed up and it's been there for a couple of days in the bottle and you have a drink of it. Imagine that chilled, and that's just vodka. It's my favourite spirit, and I do love myself a vodka sunrise, but that, you can't be going. I can't be doing with the expensive stuff. Exactly as you said, vodka's vodka. Just go cheap, cheerful.
Absolutely. Once again, you're speaking to the people, Dan. It's amazing. I think our Elon's, he's going to go for one of your striker bombs, but just before he does, he notices out the corner of his eye a little sparkle, and he follows that sparkle to a poster, and there's a big poster on the wall, and it's covered in sparkles and glitter and big writing, and it's all very fancy, and it's very much catches your eye, and that's on purpose, Dan, because on that poster is the Spoon's signature cocktail. What I would like to know is, what the fuck is it?
Now this beautiful concoction is the Russian Robinsons.
Okay, I'm invested. Now finish it.
Well, as you might guess from the sort of the Russian part, it's obviously got vodka in it.
Absolutely.
So this is inspired by my sort of when I was about 10, 11 or 12, on a hot summer's day, I decided to, like, this lemonade was boring. How can I spice it up? So I decided to sort of, in the way where you, as you do as a kid, sort of the mock shot glass where you get a bit of, as I did in this case, I got Robinsons, specifically summer fruits.
Absolutely.
And it was, not only is it great taste, but it's got a nice red colour, so it's more cocktaily in feel. You get the Robinsons, put it in the little cap so it feels like a shot, and pour it into the lemonade.
So you tell me this is non-alcohol. Oh, but then you add the Russian.
So then you've got, as I mused as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, at its wondrous taste, especially in the summer. And then you spice it up with a bit of that, good old cheap vodka, and you have yourself the Russian Robinsons. Because you don't need grenadine. And everyone's, again, same thing. Robinsons, it's just the ingredient. It's free marketing. Like, it's who doesn't love a squash?
And
you can't tell me you wouldn't. Someone's saying there's an alcoholic squash with lemonade there. Like, you want to give that a try.
I used to have little shots with a little top up of the Aldi apple and black currant. Used to do absolute wonders. Takes the edge off. Also, Dan, you've completed the golden rule, which is alliteration. As long as a cocktail's alliteration, it'll sell because people love words.
Precisely.
I think Elon will go for a bloody Russian Robinson. I think he'd very much enjoy that. He's going to go for that and the house wine. He's got his drinks. He goes off. Congratulations, the first test is done. You've done what I like to refer to as your bar side manner. It's all up to standard. He goes down, sits in a booth. Half an hour or so goes past. He calls you over. You sit opposite him. And he goes, okay, I'm enjoying it. I like what you're doing here. I see what you're doing here. But I think a pub's atmosphere is very much dictated by the story that the owner is trying to tell. And Elon's got this little phrase, which is that a pub owner always wants their pub to be as good as their best pub experience. That is a genuine quote from Elon Musk. You can not look that up. So he's kind of just trying to say, what is your best pub experience and how is that shaping your pub?
Well, my best pub experience should have been, again going back to Prague, should have been, so there's this medieval tavern that's still going. Can't remember exactly how it is, but I think it's well over 1,000. And it's like like it's pretty dark and cramped, like lit by candle because obviously there weren't windows at the time. So it's genuine, like authentic medieval tavern. And because it was a bit of a lad's holiday in Prague, this is my biggest mistake I made because I was pretty tired from excursions. I decided we'd been going out and I decided to get ready for the big night ahead. I thought I'd go for a quick nap. So I had a bit of what they have in Prague, sort of like a large bread roll, but they cut out the middle and stick a load of soup in it.
Amazing.
I had one of them, had myself a drink, took in the surroundings, and I sort of went back for a quick nap. However, apparently I was lambasted when I got back, because apparently it was the absolute best experience of everybody else who stayed's pub lives, because there was a show, I think, later, just like shortly after I'd left, where there was like jugglers and performers and dances and whatnot and much merriment. So that should have been the best experience. That's
so sad. I've never had anyone give me the best experience that they missed. That is heartbreaking, Dan.
I've seen the videos and I trust them. So I'm going to go for another one in Prague. I'm pretty, other than that, I'd say probably, obviously, as most people, my best experience I probably can't remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Another one I'll pick is another Prague one, which is where sort of the exact kind of atmosphere you want for Spoons. Is sort of it was a pub where there were several taps on your table.
Okay, I'm very, very happy already. Continue.
And so, just when you wanted a beer, just reach out, put your drink on, put your glass under it, and pour. And
how did they charge it?
Your table.
Did you pay for the table?
No, there's like a little app that like sorts the tabs out, and you just so select. You put your name in, and then say there's like 5 people at the table, you've got 5 names. Then you press your name when you wanted a drink, and then pour it, and then it would just do your tab. That
is revolutionary. That is, oh my god.
Yeah, that was a pretty damn fun night. And of course, like to encourage you to get more, there's other tables around that are doing the same thing. There's like a leaderboard at the back. Not only what was going on in Prague, but like in Berlin and.
That's such a good idea. I mean, it does massively promote unhealthy amount of drinking, but it is incredible. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, it was a tremendous amount of fun. I think one of my friends asked one of the waiters, what are the worst sort of most rowdy customers you get, and he was like, sort of third, second, first, isn't going sort of something like the Germans, the Dutch, and the English, and then he was like, and then his manager came out and said, no. Third, the Southern English. Second, the Middle English, the Midlands, and first, the Northern English. They're the worst.
Well, I will accept that mantle. Thank you very much.
Exactly. So, a hugely esteemed company. So yeah, just the atmosphere of just enjoying yourself. I mean, the drinks were a little pricey, but it was more about the experience.
Exactly. It's in, like, novel pub experiences are hard to come by, and a good thing about the pub is the regularness, the tradition of it, that you have your same drink, you sit in your same, you meet the same type of people, there's kind of like a community link to it, but every now and then when you try something really different and it works, I think it sounds incredible. Phoebe, who had on ages ago, was talking about like these kind of game pubs in Brighton where you can play like video games. For me, it was like a beer bike where once again you can pour your own drinks, and that is a perfect encapsulation of that kind of different but better. And it's a completely different type of pub experience to what you normally have. I think that's a fantastic. Elon thinks that is a fantastic answer. But whilst you're at the table, he actually, it was all kind of a secret, but he's actually wants some food. So he actually called you over for the food, but he didn't want to be rude, so he asked you about your best pub experience. And so you give him the food menu. On that menu is 3 items. It could be a starter, main, dessert, or it could be 3 mains, or it could be 2 puddings and a starter. What I want to know, Dan, is what's on there?
Oh, that's got to be easy. It's for starter, side, whatever, just plate of chips.
Plate of chips, easy,
just plate of
easy.
chips.
What type of chips?
Yeah.
We're talking chunky chips, fries.
Oh, it's got to be chunky. Got to be chunky. Just just a pallet of fries now. But you can just imagine, when it doesn't. Oh, you want something to eat, but it doesn't come with. You don't want the rest of the food. But who doesn't want just a portion of chips?
I'm sorry, if a meal doesn't come with chips, I don't get it. That's why in a pub I'll always get a burger or fish and chips because they always have fries or chips. And you gotta have all the elements. You have your main, you have your chips, you have your drink, and you're happy as Larry.
Oh yeah, obviously.
What's your second item on there?
That'll be for the slightly more fancy. That'll be cheesy chips.
I've got a feeling I know where this is going. What type of cheese? Go on, let's try and really get into this.
Oh, it's definitely going to be. I see. This might cost me a bit of money.
Okay. Well, wait. You haven't spent any yet, so you are trying to get investment. This is where the money's going. This is why you're pitching to Elon Musk to get the most expensive fucking cheese.
In terms of profit margin, but I've got to do it. More or less, I do like my cheeses, all sorts. Your blues, your hards, your softs, your goats, sheeps. I love my cheese, but obviously you've got to go for the basic one. So you've got to go for a cheddar.
Cheddar, cool.
However, I could go as cheap as possible and have the sort of the bland sort of just basically tastes like plastic cheese.
Yeah.
I've got to go for at least mature.
Mature, yeah.
I'm not going to let my customers stomach anything that I wouldn't. So it's got to be at least mature cheddar, which costs a little bit more. And I'm sure I can find a way to subsidize that.
But it's bloody worth it. And as I say, the money has to go somewhere. Currently, you've just got too much money. You have to spend it.
Rolling in it.
Fantastic. And your final choice. So just remind everyone, he's got chips. He's got cheesy chips. And for your final option, Dan, you've gone for.
This is going to be a special because obviously you want people to come for certain days.
Absolutely.
You've got to go for a classic one as well. Of course, it's also got to involve chips.
Yep.
So, for specials, on a Friday, fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Thank God. I generally thought you were going to go for, curry sauce chips. I thought there was just going to be a whole trend.
Oh, come on. We need some kind of pull.
So in your 3 meal choices, you have potato and fish, and I highly respect that. Okay?
It sounds simple, but again, if you're going to a place that's trying to be as cheap and undercutting as possible, and you're more likely to just, I'll have a portion of chips or whatever. You're more likely to.
As well, was it the White Ace? Is that the cider?
Yes, White Ace.
White Ace. You need a good amount of carbs to soak that shit up.
To get that down.
To get that down, yeah, exactly. So, it makes sense. Elon's going to go for, as it's not a Friday, the cheesy chips. Because, he's going to go, he likes a bit of cheese on his chips. And, it's a bit different to the regular, it's a bit more exotic, and that's what Elon's all about. Just before you go, you do go. Okay, let's change the narrative. You leave, you bring over the chips. He's devouring them, having a great time as Elon. And then, he's a little bit drunk, and he's like, oh my God, I'm really kind of vibing with this song. This song is amazing. Dan, what is this song now? What our Elon doesn't know is that you recently, Dan, have purchased a jukebox for your pub. And on said jukebox, you've only managed to put on one album, but it just so happens that album is just the most perfect album for your pub that you haven't even had to bother with anything else. So what I want to know is, Dan, what album have you picked? And what song in particular do you reckon Elon absolutely bloody loves?
Right, so I have gone for... Because as you can see, this is sort of the kind of everyman pub. I've got to go for something that absolutely no one can disagree with. No matter who you are, whether you're on one end or the other end of whatever spectrum, just something that everyone universally loves. So I have gone for AM by the Arctic Monkeys.
I think that has been picked before, and it's a fantastic choice. It's probably one of mine if I had to pick one.
Well, I don't know a single person who doesn't like it. and I know the worst response you get is, yeah, I think that's a good album. That is the worst response you get.
The worst response you can get is, oh yeah, that one song is good. But the whole point of the album is that every single song on there, it's become just kind of entrenched in clubs and pubs all over the bloody globe.
And especially, can you imagine, sort of end of the night, no one's really noticed. The song's been in the background, they haven't realised it's been the same album over and over again. Yeah. Because, they're drinking so much white haze and house
red.
That they sort of, the drink's been getting tastier with every sip. And they haven't been paying less and less attention to the background. So, sort of, just, when everyone's getting to their sort of crescendo, and you've got to let them down. You've got to ring the bell and say last orders. Now that is the point where you pipe up, do I want to know? And not only will it sort of everyone be like, oh yeah, go on, I'll get in an extra round. But you can imagine sort of the entire, sort of just singing at the end of the night, the entire pub going for it. So that is the exact atmosphere and the exact distraction I want them to have for the best experience at my pub.
I'll tell you what, that is a great answer, because not only do you have your album, but you are manufacturing the album in a way that it works best. So you're playing different songs at different times to try and get that crescendo going. I think that's a fantastic answer. Yes, I'm very happy with that. As is Elon. Elon is just all over that shit. He's absolutely loving it. Fantastic. You go off to the bar. Elon gets up. He fancies doing something a bit different. He looks for, and I quote, a game/or activity. Dan, what have you got for him?
I absolutely couldn't look past this for my pub. It's the absolute epitome of pub gaming. I've got to go for a darts board.
Darts board, 100%. Are you any good at darts? I'm shit.
Well, I can play. My dad was quite well, I'll say it about it, he was quite good.
Yeah, my dad's pretty good. I think we kind of missed the generation a little bit. We're more pool, I feel like pool kind of came into the pubs. We missed out on the darts, which is annoying because it's cool, isn't it? It's cool, darts.
Yeah, we've got a little, I think, so every sort of Christmas I used to lovely watch the darts, and the theme, like you've got every time somebody wants to step up, I'm going to have a button that they can press, and it just does the first.
It does and then you can get a little crowd gather around. Yeah, you can make a bit of a song and dance out of it.
Only 10 seconds, so royalty free, but everyone will be hyped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got in our house we've got a little dartboard that we haven't used in ages in the attic, and yeah, I'm just thinking about that. And being able to use that in a pub. Some people might say it's dangerous, but phooey to them, I say.
Phooey, absolute phooey.
What we'll also have with the dartboard, to encourage people to get up, we'll sort of allow little wages, sort of, obviously, because if you're under 18, we're not going to serve alcohol to you.
So you won't be in there in the first place. Don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. So we'll do little wages where you're allowed to sort of. The bar's kind of like a bookmaker's. Nothing major.
It does sound a tad seedy, Dan, I have to admit.
Well, I mean, you did hear me that my decor was 5 years on from Wetherspoon.
Yeah, that's true.
So basically, there's absolutely nothing major. So, like, do you want to put a bet on against the bar, say, I reckon I can do this, that, and that, and you say, okay, I'll give you a pint for it or whatever. Or you can go to your mates and say, and so nobody can renege on their offer. Then they can say, look, I'm going to challenge my mate, Bob, here at a game of darts.
Standard.
And the winner buys the loser a pint. So the bar will keep track of that. And so no one can renege on it. So yeah, just to. We're not here to make any money off of the
just spice it up a bit, makes it a bit more of an entertaining evening. And this is at the point, Dan, where I introduce our sponsors, Bet365. That is a joke. we are not. Please, Bet365, please don't sue me. I mean, they're not listening, so it's fine. But
you can sponsor if you'd like. I would like some money.
Yeah, I mean, Elon might not cut it. That cheese is very, very expensive.
That cheese is going for it. Yeah, might have to get your hands on.
Amazing. Elon has a go. He plays a few bets against himself, but classic bloody Elon He's moved on to the white ace and it's gone straight to his head, and he's managed to hit himself with a dart in the hand. But he's all right. He goes out, goes to the corner shop, gets a plaster, sorts it out. But as he's walking back in, he notices, as he didn't on his way in, a blackboard. And on the blackboard is a message. And, you know, pubs like to do this. They like to have a bit of fun with their blackboards. And it's also a good way of getting people inside. So, Daniel, what's on the board?
On this blackboard is... I must have seen this elsewhere before. But the first place I remember seeing this was actually, I think, in Las Vegas, in the Hotel New York, New York. I think I went there when I was about 11 or 12. And in one of the sort of bar/restauranty things that was in one of the hotels was just this sign with a load of people celebrating, and I thought the most magnificent thing, it said, "Free beer tomorrow."
Oh my God.
Exactly. Not only does it advertise free beer tomorrow, so everyone's happy as Larry.
Yeah.
But so you know it's a bit of a joke, but also you don't have to promise. You don't have to promise anything because it's never tomorrow. Tomorrow's always tomorrow.
Tomorrow never comes, in the words of Bugsy Malone.
Exactly.
It is. That's clever. It's clever. I mean, I didn't get it first time round, but that's because I'm slow. I like it. And it's a thinker, isn't it? You're like, oh, what is tomorrow? And then you're like, yes, Elon, it's tomorrow. And he'll be like, oh, I get it. Like me.
Exactly.
Me and Elon are very similar.
It's the kind of place where who's going to say you fooled someone? Oh, you said there was free beer tomorrow. Yeah, the sign says it's tomorrow. They go, oh, yeah, go and get...
And then they buy 3 pints of bloody white ace and get absolutely trolleyed.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. I like that a lot. Our Elon, he comes back in. He's got nearly everything he needs, but he calls you over again to his little booth. He sits you down. And he goes, Dan, look. It's okay. It's good. There's only one problem, and it's you. I don't trust you, mate. You're all too good to be true. I mean, you don't cost any money. You like cheese. I'm a cheese man. Everyone knows Elon's a cheese man. And there's no Haribos in sight, and I fucking hate Haribos. So it's going really well for you, but I just don't trust you. I can't. You're too much of a good human being, Dan. I need you to completely deface yourself. I need you to rip down that propaganda wall you've got in front of you, and I need to know your most embarrassing story so that I know that you're on a level and that me and you can bond over something. Me being Elon Musk, you know? So what have you got?
Well, other than that the walls of this particular pub are almost certainly still made out of asbestos. Well, I think we can... there's a story that I can tell. I'll give you a couple small ones.
Just a couple of snippets.
Yeah, there was sort of just one time when I think at my local where I'd had obviously a few, because as you do, at this place that, you know, Wetherspoons, but, you know, there'll be history soon, don't worry. And I've only recently gotten my provisional driver's license, so for years, since turning 18, I've always had to bring my passport with me.
Oh, that's an absolute nightmare.
And being a few in, my friends thought it'd be particularly good to play a practical joke. After going to the toilet, I'd left it on the table. And the simple, take it, stick it in someone's pocket. The trouble is, it took me too long to realise that one of them had just taken it. So not only was I getting a bit worked up, but I also ended up asking, especially with liquid courage in my veins, I ended up asking most of the bar staff if they'd seen it. Sort of just going around.
Just doing the rounds.
And until sort of there was this poor woman who'd come round to fill the drinks and said, does no one handed it into the bar or anything? And as she's sort of looking at me sort of confused, my mate just hands it to me, just in front of her, and I'm like, you never saw anything.
Oh, the timing of that is just cruel friends, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. That's good. I want another one, though. Come on. You're nearly there. Get Elon on side. You're nearly there.
Just another... almost pre-pub experience, I suppose.
All right.
So I had a couple mates round, and we were watching, as it turned out to be, it was Sharp's Rifles. And, we were I think me and my mate had a bit of wine, just watching it just casually, before going to the pub, because we were going out in the evening. He was, I think, stopping around mine that night. So I thought, we'll have a bit before, just to warm up. That very quickly got polished off. So I brought out, as you do, I brought out the vodka. And I may have slightly overdone it.
Right, as one is prone to do.
Yes, so whilst the sun was still high in the sky and we were just about to leave, it wasn't conceivably in any way the evening. I sort of come down the stairs looking pretty much a state, barely able to sort of look forward. Not only in front of my parents, but in front of my mum's friend who was also staying with us at the time. Just for them, and my two friends at the side, all of them just sort of mocking me relentlessly as I'm just sort of... There's not much I can do. I've got no defence. It's pretty obvious that I'm out of the game. And I'm just sort of... So not only my friends doing it, my parents doing it, my mum's friends doing it as well. I've just, from all sides, I end up sort of somehow getting into the pub and being a bit catatonic until a couple hours in, and then I finally sober up enough to continue the evening.
I mean, nothing kills me more than getting drunk in front of your parents. I once went out, got a little bit drunk, came back in, and they were just going to bed. I was going to bed, and I have a, as you can tell from my rather small arm muscles, Dan, I have a like a pull-up bar above my door that I very rarely use. And as you know, when you're drunk, get a bit of the Dutch courage. And I went to do one. So my parents were going to bed. They just turned around. I was like, "Mom, look at this." I pulled myself up, and it snapped off, and I fell back on my head. And honestly, in front of anyone else, it's fine. But there's something about parents being drunk. You've got no defence. It's awful. And then your bloody mum's mates getting involved. Absolute travesty. Yeah. As you can tell, I connect with that one on a personal level. And as I am Elon in this situation, Daniel, congratulations. You have your money, which you can spend on fucking the biggest wheel of mature cheddar you'll ever see. It's gonna be, honestly, cheddar out the bloody ceiling. You can fill your asbestos-filled walls with cheddar. That's how much money we're going to give you. And the fact that cheddar is a synonym for money as well, there's something we can do there funny-wise, but we're past that. And, because it's Elon, he can give you a little signing-on bonus. As you probably know, Elon's ridiculously rich, and he's decided that if the Tesla cars don't work out, he's just going to bring out the time machine. He made a time machine, 5-6 years ago, and he's just keeping it on the back burner, whenever he needs it. And he's going to, as a signing on bonus, let you use his time machine and his very much all of his resources to let you have a drink with 5 people, dead or alive, old or young, friend or foe. And because of his time machine, Elon gets up, he walks out the door, and immediately coming into the room are your 5 people. Daniel, who is it?
Well, I've gone with sort of a 3 and a 2. So I'll see them separately. So I've gone with.
Sorry, so you can have a drink with 5 people from any time and any place, no. and you sit them on separate tables.
Oh yeah, if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not sure the 5 would want to be together with each other. But yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So let's go for the 2 first. Which 2 are by themselves?
Right. So the 2 by themselves are Joseph Stalin.
Right.
And Joe McCarthy, because I want to know what it would be like for one of the biggest communists versus one of the biggest communist haters, just to have a pint together.
Yeah. I love how you sat them together as well.
Yeah.
So you were going on that they won't get along, then you sit those 2 together.
Well, precisely. I just want to see what on earth would happen. Both of them would just explode, assuming that, I don't know, they've had enough white ace to tolerate each other.
Yes, exactly. We need a good 2 hours of pre-drinking.
Yeah, to get in a proper argument with each other. but like raised voices, but nothing violent.
Nothing violent.
So if I had just Joe Stalin on one side, obviously he's been translated into English for Joe McCarthy, but could you imagine just the epitome of communism versus the epitome of communism hatred? Just going out, that'd be absolutely fine. You wouldn't even need to say a word. You just
you'd just be spectating. And then getting rather drunk in the process. Fantastic. What about your other three? Is it a similar thing? Is it a debate or is it more of a conversation?
So the other ones sort of, I've gone for sort of more alive people.
Fair.
I'll go for, it was very difficult picking the three for this, because obviously it's going to be Chelsea related.
Oh, 100%.
I'm just going to have to go for... so, obviously Frank Lampard's going to be there. I've got to stick John Terry in. And the tough decision is between whether I also have Didier Drogba or Petr Cech.
It's got to be, because I mentioned him in your opening, it's got to be Didier. Just for circular, so the episode makes sense. It's got to be Didier.
The perfect circle, like a wheel of cheese. I'll have a lovely nest. Just what's it like being a footballer, that kind of stuff, the stuff they got up to, and again, once the House Reds got them talking, I'm sure that there's so many stories that they'll happily divulge.
It is incredibly fascinating. You can ask any footballer, and I just love the random connections everyone has. And you also got me very excited for the Middlesbrough game, which kicks off in 27 minutes, which is very exciting.
I was getting worried that we were going to run over. I couldn't miss another Warnock performance.
Honestly, we're cutting it too bloody close. Okay, I have to see all of the build-up. I need to know exactly Warnock's strategies. But before that, you have a lovely night. Politicians have a good time. The footballers have a good time. You're interchanging between the two tables. Honestly, it's been great. And they have showered you with praise. You've had more cheese than you could bloody blink an eyelid at. Your cholesterol's through the bloody roof. And they've been buying you drinks all night. And it gets to, let's say, 1 o'clock. It's closed apart from for you and your mates. Well, maybe not your mates. You and your people. And you go, no, what? You know what? No. It's my turn, guys. You've been all lovely. I've had a great time. But I am going to get the next round. Before you ask them what they want, you go straight to the bar. So, for your final question, Dan, what I'd like to know is, what drink do you think each of your guests would drink? It doesn't have to be just your pub. And finally, Dan, you go to a bar. What do you get?
Well, obviously, vodka for Stalin, definitely.
Yeah. I like the idea of him drinking a Russian Robinson, actually.
Yeah, well, surely that's too much water.
It's a bit sweet.
Well, it's a bit sweet, but I like this Robinson. It's good.
You try, Daniel. You try. It's okay.
You know go gulag. So yeah, I'd have give it. Obviously, you get the vodka. For Joe McCarthy, it's got to be as posh as possible. I give him that Castellare Pinot Grigio.
Oh, the white, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be treated somewhat. The football players, it's got to be striker bombs all round.
Yeah, 100%. They've been too hard working for too long. They just need to let loose and get the striker bombs down them. And so that leaves, Daniel, yourself. So, we're talking about the pub all the bloody time, but what is it that if you get any drink, what's your go-to?
Well, I've saved myself. It's not on the menu. I've saved it for myself. A bottle of this behind the bar. For me, I absolutely love a bottle of Henry Weston's vintage cider.
I was so hoping that you would say Lambrini, and we could talk about when you got one of the first times I met Daniel, when he downed a bottle of Lambrini and he could not remember the names of several people.
and that is precisely the reason why I will not be drinking Lambrini.
Daniel, that's it. We've done it. Thank you so much. You've been an incredible guest. I've had a bloody lovely time chatting to you. If it's all right, if you can hang around for 2 seconds while I do a couple of thank yous. First one's to Jack Pethram for the jingle. If you haven't heard it, absolutely brilliant. Secondly, Sam Nason for the graphics. Cheers, Sam. Thirdly, to all these bloody lovely people listening, which will include me and you and possibly 2 or 3 others. And finally, to the man himself, Daniel. Thank you again for being an amazing guest. Thank you for coming along and giving me all your time. And all that's left to say is up the borough. And thank you for listening.